So, in my last couple of videos, I talked a little bit about Marx and my ideas about Marx, about his philosophy and some areas where I agree with him and areas where I disagree with him. Now I kind of want to go in the other direction and talk a little about some of the virtues in, if not capitalism in practice, then at least some of the ideals behind capitalism. Um, and namely the sort of individualist achievement-oriented aspects. Um, yeah, I mean, personally, I'd say I have to confess that my least favorite philosopher would, by miles, would have to be Ayn Rand, and yet there is something in her philosophy that I think uh, there is some kernel of truth that I think needs to be acknowledged and recognized, which is we have to be wary of the tendency in collectivism to sort of try and crush the inherent creative drive in the human spirit. There are that we as humans seek more than just sustenance. We seek uh, you know we seek to make something of ourselves, to unleash our creativity and our talent. Um, and I think what Nietzsche had talked about is the will to power. We seek to remake the world in some way. Um, and I think there's great potential in that. Um, and actually, if I have one major criticism of capitalism as it's done today, is the extent to which it doesn't live up to that. Um, and I wonder if those who rail uh, against collectivism have ever pondered just what a collectivist idea the corporation is. I mean, corporations in our law are recognized as legal persons. So you have this collective, entity, a company, which is like a publicly traded company that a bunch of stockholders own, and we treat it as a legal person that can own property and defend itself in court. And I mean, how much more collectivist can you be? And so much of the invention in our society, so much of the of the commerce is controlled not by individuals seeking out self-expression, but through corporations mass producing products that are marketed to the masses. And I'm not saying that mass production is an inherent evil, but I think that we can tend to lose sight of the sort of individualistic striving towards greatness. And so, yeah, I think I don't think Ayn Rand ever thought of that. I mean, the heroes in her books are kind of exceptions to society that you couldn't make such people the sort of rules by which the sort of models by which society operates. You can't have a whole society of John Galts, which is why that book is so terribly unrealistic. Um, but there is something to be said for that idea of uh, you know of seeking greatness in fulfilling one's talents. Um, I mean, I think in a sense, um, so the biggest one of my criticisms of modern corporate capitalism is, in fact, that it is in a sense too collectivist. It seeks to um, sort of suppress a lot of your natural creativity and talent and mold you into this cog in the machine that's whose only talents the only talents it recognizes are those that certain capitalists want to use to make money for themselves. I mean, and again, I think this is a product of a sort of monopolistic system in which the commons has been privatized. thus alienating us from this sort of natural source of wealth that we are, uh, which we are all born into. Um, and so, yeah, I think that, yeah, that in a sense we have to reclaim the commons and recognize our sort of collective right to the earth in order to help bring about the sort of individual achievement, striving toward greatness that is sort of the ideal of capitalism. And it's strangely an ideal that it has praised with its lips and denounced in its deeds. So, I mean, when people talk about the rat race, climbing the corporate ladder, doing working the 9 to 5, that is such a way in which our capitalist society has kind of dampened the human spirit and the sort of human entrepreneurial spirit on which capitalism is supposed to be built. So what I want to do is actually democratize entrepreneurship and create a society in which we are able to express our individual greatness in a more fully developed way than what our current system is doing. So yeah, I guess my point is, in a sense, my biggest critique of modern capitalism is its unfulfilled promise of a entrepreneurial, creative, achievement-oriented society. So I guess that's my thoughts on that. Peace.